Good morning, boys and girls. Who's ready for chapter 5 and to find out who Wilbur's new friend is? I am. I already know, but I'm not going to spoil it for you. So let's find out. Chapter 5 is called Charlotte. Who's Charlotte? And our title's called Charlotte's Web. Can you make a prediction who Charlotte is? Let's find out. The night seemed long. Wilbur's stomach was empty and his mind was full. And when your stomach is empty and your mind is full, it's always hard to sleep. A dozen times during the night, Wilbur woke up, stared into the darkness, listening to the sounds, trying to figure out what time it was. The barn is never perfectly quiet. Even at midnight, there is usually some stirring. The first time he woke, he heard Templeton gnawing a hole in the grain bin. Templeton's teeth scratched loudly against the wood. That crazy rat, thought Wilbur. Why does he have to stay up all night grinding and destroying people's property? Why can't he go to sleep like a decent animal? Do you remember who Templeton is? The second time Wilbur woke, he heard the goose turning on her nest and chuckling to herself. What time is it? Whispered Wilbur to the goose. Probably 11:30. Why aren't you asleep, Wilbur? Too many things on my mind, said Wilbur. Well, said the goose, that's not my trouble. I have nothing on my mind. I have had too many things under my behind. Have you tried to sleep while sitting on 8 eggs? No, replied Wilbur. I suppose it's uncomfortable. How long does it take for a goose egg to hatch? Approximately 30 days, all told. But I cheat a little. On warm afternoons, I put a small straw under the eggs and go out for a walk. Wilbur yawned and went back to sleep. In his dreams, he heard again the voice saying, I'll be your friend. Go to sleep. You'll see me in the morning. About half an hour before dawn, Wilbur woke up and listened. The barn was still dark. The sheep lay motionless. Even the goose was quiet. Overhead, on the main floor, nothing stirred. The cows were resting and the horses dozed. Templeton had quit work and gone off scrambling on some kind of errand. The other sound was a light scratching noise on the rooftop. It was probably the weather. Wilbur loved the barn when it was like this, calm and quiet, waiting for the light. Day is almost here, he thought. Through a small window, a faint gleam appeared. One by one, stars went down. Wilbur could not see the goose. He sat there with his head tucked under, Wilbur could see the goose, and she sat there with her head tucked under her wing. She must be asleep. Oh, beautiful day it is, here at last. Today I shall find my friend. Wilbur looked everywhere. He searched his pen. He couldn't find her. He examined the window ledge, staring at the ceiling, but he saw nothing new. Finally, he decided he would have to speak up. He hated to break the stillness of dawn by using his voice, but how else was he supposed to find his mysterious friend? So Wilbur cleared his throat. Attention, please, he said in a loud, firm voice. Will the party who addressed me at bedtime last night kindly make himself or herself known by giving an appropriate sigh? Wilbur paused and listened. All the other animals lifted their heads and stared at him. Wilbur blushed, and he was determined to get in touch with his new unknown friend. Attention, please, he said. I will repeat the message. Will the party who addressed me at bedtime last night kindly speak up? Please tell me where you are, if you were my friend. The sheep looked at each other in disgust. Stop your nonsense, Wilbur, said the older sheep. If you have a new friend here, you are probably disturbing his rest, and the quietest way to spoil a friendship is wake everybody up in the morning. How can you be sure your friend is an early riser? I beg everyone's pardon, said Wilbur. I didn't mean to be objectionable. He lay down merely in his manure facing the door. He did not know it, but his friend was very near. And the old sheep was right. The friend was still asleep. Soon Lurvy appeared with slops for breakfast. Wilbur rushed out and ate everything in a hurry and licked his trap. The sheep moved down the lane. Wilbur was settling down for the morning nap when he heard again the small, thin voice. Salutations, said the voice. Wilbur jumped to his feet. Sal what? He cried. Salutations, repeated the voice. What are they, and where are you? Please tell me where you are. And what are salutations? That's a big word, huh? Let's find out what salutations mean. Salutations are greetings, said the voice. When I say salutations, it's just my fancy way of saying hello or good morning. Actually, it's a silly expression. And I'm surprised that I use it at all. As for my whereabouts, that's easy. Look up here in the corner doorway. Here I am. Look, I'm waving. At last, Wilbur saw the creature that had spoken to him in a kindly way. Stretched across the upper partway of the doorway was a big spider web hanging from the top of the web, head down, with a large gray spider. Oh, I can't wait to show you the picture. She was about the size of a gumdrop. She had 8 legs, and she was waving from one of them to Wilbur. See me now? She asked. Oh, yes, indeed, said Wilbur. Yes, indeed. How are you? Good morning. Salutations. Very pleased to meet you. What is your name, please? May I have your name? My name, said the spider, is Charlotte. Charlotte what? Asked Wilbur eagerly. Charlotte A. Kvitka. Just call me Charlotte. I think you're beautiful, said Wilbur. Well, I'm pretty, replied Charlotte. There's no denying that. Almost all spiders are rather nice looking. I'm not as flashy as some, but I'll do. I wish I could see Wilbur as clearly as you could see me. Why can't you? Asked the pig. I'm right here. Yes, but I'm nearsighted, replied Charlotte. I've always been dreadfully nearsighted. It's good in some ways, but not in others. Watch me wrap up a fly. The fly that was crawling along Wilbur's trot had flown up into the lower part of Charlotte's web and was tangled in the sticky threads. The fly was beating its wings ferociously, trying to break loose and free. First, said Charlotte, I dive at him. Okay, I want to show you the picture. Look at the sketch. There's Wilbur and there's Charlotte. It was a spider all along Charlotte's web. Now let's see how she eats flies. Head first towards the fly, as she dropped a tiny silken thread and unwound him from her rear end. Next, I wrap him up. She grabbed the fly, threw a few jets of silk around it, and rolled it up. Wilbur watched. In horror, he couldn't hardly believe what he was seeing. And although he detested flies, he was sorry for this one. There, said Charlotte. Now I knock him out so he'll be more comfortable. She bit the fly. He can't feel a thing now. He'll make a perfect breakfast for me. Have you ever seen a spider eat a fly or catch something in their web? It's really cool. You mean you eat flies? Gasped Wilbur. Certainly. Flies, bugs, grasshoppers, beetles, moths, butterflies, tasty cockroach, daddy longlegs, centipede, mosquitoes, crickets, anything that's careless enough to get caught in my web. I have to live, don't I? Why, of course, said Wilbur. Do they taste good? Oh, delicious. I don't really eat them. I drink them. I drink their blood. I love blood. Don't say that, groaned Wilbur. Please don't say things like that. Why not? It's true. I have to say that it's true. I'm not entirely happy about my diet of flies and bugs, but it's the way I'm made. A spider has to pick up living somehow or another, and I happen to be a trapper. I just naturally build a web and trap flies and other insects. My mother was a trapper before me. Her mother was a trapper before her. All our family have been trappers. Way back for thousands and thousands of years, we spiders have been laying for flies and bugs. It's a miserable inheritance, said Wilbur. He was sad to see his new friend, to see how his new friend was so bloodthirsty. Yes, it is, agreed Charlotte, but I can't help it. I don't know how the first spider in the early days of the world happened to think of this fancy idea of spinning a web, but she did, and she was clever. And since then, all of us spiders have work to do. It's cruel, replied Wilbur, who did not intend to be argued. Well, you can't talk, said Wilbur. You have your meals brought to you in a pail. Nobody feeds me. I have to get my own living. I live by my wits. I have to be sharp and clever. Let's I go hungry. I have to think things out, catch what I can, take what comes. And it just so happens, my friend, that what comes is flies and insects. And furthermore, said Charlotte, shaking one of her legs, do you realize that if I didn't catch bugs and eat them, bugs would increase and multiply and get so numerous that they destroy the earth and wipe everything out? She got a point, right? Really? Said Wilbur. I wouldn't want that to happen. Perhaps your web is a good thing after all. The goose had been listening to the conversation and chuckling to herself. There are a lot of things Wilbur doesn't know about life, she thought. He's really a very innocent little pig. He doesn't even know what's going to happen to him around Christmas time. He has no idea Mr. Zuckerman and Lurvy are plotting to get him. The goose raised herself a bit and poked her eggs out a little further until she could see what was going on. Charlotte stood quietly over the fly, preparing to eat it. Wilbur lay down and closed his eyes. He was tired from the wakeful night and from the excitement of meeting his friend for the first time. A breeze brought him the smell of clover, the sweet-smelling world over the fence. Well, I've got a new friend all right, but what a gamble friendship is. Charlotte is fierce, brutal, bloodthirsty, everything I don't like. How can I learn to like her, even though she's pretty and, of course, clever? Wilbur was merely suffering the doubts and fears that often go with finding a new friend. In good time, he was to discover that he was mistaken about Charlotte. Underneath her rather bold and cruel exterior, she had a kind heart, and she was to prove loyal and true to the end. And that's what we will find out. Wow, what a cool chapter. So interesting. Did you ever think that Wilbur's new friend was going to be a spider? In the beginning, when I first read this, I didn't. We can be friends with anything. All right, boys and girls, I hope you enjoyed chapter 5. I will see you later. Bye-bye.